oh man, I hate mainstream media. I hate working for them. I hate the Democrats. They're all lying and all da. And then, like, once again, somebody called him and was like, hey, bro, you not quitting. You about to go to work tomorrow. And if you try to quit, we gonna find you. And he was like, yes, Zaddy, I'll be at work tomorrow. And so that was a short-lived victory for the independent media. But he talked to somebody. I don't know. I mean, I'm also assuming Ice Cube speaking up probably had a lot to do with it. But he talked to somebody, and because of that, he got Ice Cube back on. He reinvited him, and Ice Cube went on. And like I said, by the end of this interview, Chris Cuomo ends up apologizing, but also largely agreeing with Ice. So let's listen to what they got to say.
Our next guest is Ice Cube. If you know anything about him, and you probably do, you know he started his career rapping in defiance about police presence and the realities of inner city life. And he got political with his songs as well recently during the Trump administration, most recently in 2018. Here's a taste.
Arrest the president. You got the evidence. That is Russian intelligence.
Now we see a shift. Now he wants to work.
Now let's be honest. Not one of Ice Cube's most politically astute moments. It's okay. Everybody thought it was true at one point. Not everybody, but y'all watch this show, so a little bit different. But he's evolved past that now. He sees the light. So I know some of y'all gonna be in there like, what? Ice Cube? Not Russiagate. I feel you, but no, he's not like that anymore. Shane Wolf, thank you very much for the super chat. Puff seems to be saying F Cube and vote Biden. Then not only will the DNC not have to answer, but they will cut Cube out as punishment. They would do that, yes. But I didn't see him say that, but maybe I missed it. So let's continue.
With President Trump. Here's what the president had to say most recently about Black Lives Matter.
The first time I ever heard of Black Lives Matter, I said, that's such a terrible term because it's such a racist term. It's a term that sows division between blacks and whites and everybody else. And it's a very bad term for blacks. But they were very angry. It's a Marxist organization.
With all that going on and how the president continues to speak about there being no systemic inequality, it's no shock that Ice Cube got some heat for deciding to work with the Trump administration. He wants to deal with it. I want to understand it. So should you. So here is Ice Cube on Prime Time. Thank you for taking the opportunity, brother. I appreciate it.
Well, both campaigns contacted me. Both campaigns wanted to talk to me about the contract with Black America. One campaign said, we love what you have, but let's really dig into it after the election. And one campaign said, we love what you have. Do you mind talking to us about it? And that's what I did. So I didn't run into nobody. And so that was real misleading to me.
Well, I didn't say you ran to anybody. I said that you had taken a pivot.
Well, you said I ran over to the Trump team instead of the Biden team. That's just not true.
Well, but you are working with the Trump team instead of the Biden team, and people are giving you heat for it. What do you say to them?
Well, I'm willing to work with both teams, but I'm just working with whoever is willing to work with me. So the Trump campaign came to me and asked me to explain to them some of the contract with Black America. That's what I did. I'm not playing no more of these games, these political games. We're not part of a team. We have very broad problems, especially the wealth gap in this country when it comes to Black Americans. So I'm going to whoever's in power.
So, off rip, like Q was like, nah, bro, your lead-in was misleading, which it was. And I mean, not just, because it's not like it's just Chris Cuomo. Like, to be fair, I would say that Chris Cuomo, even up to this point, has been fairer to Ice Cube than most people have. So, but Ice Cube called him out, which he was right to do, which most people should start doing more because then you get results. And Cube said very clearly Because people have Politico misquoted. I'm Roland Martin, Ben Dixon, all these black figures, these progressive black figures. And by progressive, I just mean they're neoliberal Democrats. They've been saying that he went to the Trump team and he's on the Trump team, and that he endorsed Trump and that he's working for Trump. He's like, nah, I'm gonna work with whoever wants to work with me. I mean, I think it's what people should do. Like, if you are an organizer, an activist, and someone says they want to work specifically on your cause, until they, while working on your cause or helping you achieve your cause, give you a reason to pause while y'all are working together, you can't just wholesale say, hey, no, F y'all, I'm done. I'm not working with y'all, period. Right? They have to give you a reason to pause. Like, progressives decided during the election, even though we hate the Democrats, or at least the independent-minded progressives do, we don't like the Democrats. However, the candidates that we feel have the best chance, that best represent us, a couple of them are running within the Democratic primary. So we can go vote Democrat or switch our registration Democrat temporarily for this moment until they give us a reason to say, another reason I should say, at that moment in time, to give people the middle, or to give them the middle finger. And that's what people, I mean, that's what I did and what a lot of people were doing. But you have to be able to think strategically. You can't just be all emotion and no strategy, especially for black people, because we really don't have any room for error right now. We don't have room for all emotion, no strategy. We don't. Especially when you have two, you have a neo-fascist and you have a civility fascist. Pick one. But at the very bare minimum, squeeze what you can out of them. It doesn't have to be for altruistic reasons. Trump does not have to be magnanimously in love with Ice Cube's plan. It could simply be, well, I'm worried they're going to hold me accountable if I don't support it, and I really want to win. So I'm going to do at least hear what he has to say so I can take advantage of it strategically against my opponent. Isn't that what politics is supposed to be? Out of curiosity? Yes, it is. All right, let's continue.
Power, and I'm going to speak to them about our problems specifically. I'm not going there talking about minorities. I'm not going there talking about people of color or diversity or none of that stuff. I'm going there for black Americans, the ones who, that's no problem.
Well,
I'm not picking
systemic
nobody.
Inequality.
I don't know what he want to do. I just know what the man said. I know what he said to the country. I've never met Donald Trump. So I don't know what he's going to do. I just know what he said he was going to do. So both of them have a plan. Both of them say they're going to do something. And who knows what's really going to happen after November 3rd. Nobody knows from each side. We're all hoping that candidates keep their campaign promises. So that's just it.
So let's look at it this way. I think that you're right to be skeptical. Let's start with the Democrats, because even though there is a traditional connection between black voters and the Democrats, you could also say you've been let down or forgotten by Democrats in a lot of situations that would have mattered. Then you say, all right, so then what makes one side better than the other? That's where you get in trouble.
Wait a minute. Did Chris Cuomo just admit that black people have actually been let down by the Democrats? Did he just admit that? Wow. Now, I ain't gonna let that other thing slide too. After he just said, I'm willing to work with anybody who's willing to work with me. He's like, oh yeah, but you're picking Trump. He's like, bro, I just said I'm not picking nobody. What does that have to do with? I didn't even meet with Trump. I didn't even meet with Trump. His campaign called, both campaigns called, once again, and this needs to be reiterated, both campaigns called, Democrats said wait until after the election. Trump's administration said, let's hear what you have to say. We're willing to make changes. And if what Chris Cuomo is saying too, doesn't that make the situation worse? Doesn't it make the Biden campaign look worse? Because you're like, oh, why would Trump want to help if he doesn't believe in systemic racism. But Biden doesn't. Biden doesn't want to help, clearly. Right? Or at least Biden didn't want to hear what a black person had to say about where he thinks the black community should be heading. They said, wait till after the election. Bro, you know how insulting that is? Like Cuomo himself just said, the black community has been let down time and time again by the Democratic Party. So if Trump doesn't believe in systemic racism, but he's strategically smarter to know, yeah, I may not believe in it, but I do need that damn vote. And more importantly, I need to take the votes away from Joe Biden. I need to hear what he has to say and make adjustments accordingly. Biden is such a bad strategist. He takes the votes of black people for granted to such a degree that he's like, I can literally ignore you. And people will attack you for trying to hold me accountable for that. Think about that, people. Think about that. You people work, like if you go to Congress, and this is like one of Tulsi's like biggest things during the campaign. You know, Congress, you got to work with people you don't necessarily get along with. You have to work with people that you don't necessarily trust. Working with somebody and being a friend with somebody are two different things. You work with people at your job every single day that you don't like. I don't have to deal with that, fortunately, because my team is awesome. But I used to have to deal with that. And guess what? You suck it up and you get the job done. Or you don't have a job anymore. It's that simple. But people pretend like this is people. I'm telling you, the emotional immaturity that's being displayed by some neo-progressives and definitely neoliberals and Democrats is just it's getting out of hand. 35E, do you thank you very, very much for the super chat, my friend. We don't need partisanship. We need functionality. We need accountability. No promises, just logic. There you go. Right there with you.
Which is, do you really think that Donald Trump can be trusted as much as you could trust Joe Biden?
I don't think I'm not trusting any of them. I'm just going by action. That's all I'm going by. I'm not going by words. I'm not going by rhetoric, not going by media spin, not going by none of that. You know, I'm not on nobody's team. I'm not on Team Blue, not on Team Red.
So then I have that wrong.
I'm an independent person, and I believe that's what black people need to do is become independent, and we need to get something for our vote. You know, that may not happen, but it's gonna happen.
It's got to happen. It's got to happen. Nothing changes if nothing changes. I look, if I had brought you here to fight with you, you would have known it. What I'm saying is, I think I did get it wrong, and I want to make sure I get it right. So saying you're working with the Trump team is wrong. What you did was, when they asked to talk to you about it, you said yes. If Biden had asked to talk to you about it now, you would have gone to them the same way. It's not about you choosing anything. It's you working with everybody who's got a chance of doing anything.
I'm working with whoever's in power. Yeah, I'll work with both. Whoever's in power, I'm going to work with. So whoever wins, they'll hear from me.
Okay, so I'm glad you came to clear it up. So Ice Cube is not with the Trump campaign. He's just given his ideas, and anybody who wants to do something with him, fine. Do you believe they are doing anything with your ideas?
I believe, they looked at the contract with Black America and they updated their plan, but it's their plan. I have my plan. My plan is broad. It goes beyond the public sector. It goes into the private sector, banks, even the movie industry. So we got to deal with a lot of different, companies, corporations, and even government when it comes to solving this problem. I believe it's a bipartisan problem. I believe it's a bipartisan problem when it comes to the issues, when it comes to blacks in America and what's going on. It's not a Democrat problem. It's not for them to solve. It's not for the Republicans to solve. It's for both of them to solve. They do it when it comes to debt ceiling. They do it when it comes to getting us in wars. They seem to come together when it's something that really affects America. And I don't think nothing affects America more than the situation that Black Americans find ourselves in.
That's it. I don't see nothing else. Leave him alone. He's already dead, Cube. Let it go. It's over. TKO. That man said he been reading. If you are doubting that he has been reading, there is your proof. For me as a black man, because of everything that we have to deal with as a community, it's very difficult for you to understand the concept of how the duopoly works together outside, like to screw over people outside of how they do it with your community. Because people working 2-3 jobs, they're just too tired. They gotta deal with what they have to deal with. When you say y'all can work together on this, y'all can work together to push a war, but you can't work together for us? Uh-oh. This is why that statement, ladies and gentlemen, is why they tried to stop him from going on CNN. That statement is exactly why they tried to stop him from going on CNN. That's it, if you were curious. He got Cuomo to apologize. He got Cuomo to agree with him. Because what is there to disagree with? What is there to disagree with? How can you trust either of them? I don't trust either of them. What does that have to do with my strategy? I mean, yeah, it might have something to do with my strategy, in the war room behind closed doors. But what does that have to do with my strategy of challenging whoever wins? Trump is in office right now. If Biden gets in, he said, you're going to keep hearing from me. Do you know where that strategy comes from? That strategy comes from activists of old. That's how activists have gotten anything done. Especially well-known black activists. You can't make compromises with no leverage. You threaten whoever you need to say, okay, fine, you will not get our vote. And he said, what did Q say? Black people need to go independent. That's because neither of them want it. And Cuomo was like, yeah, I mean, I agree. Nothing's going to change if nothing changes. You heard it here, folks. Chris Cuomo said that black people should go independent. He agreed with Ice Cube. But Chris Cuomo's not going to get attacked like Ice Cube is, even though it's not like Cube hasn't been saying this. Cube has been saying this. Forsaken Pineapple, thank you very, very much for the super chat. Hey, Niko, you're one of my favorite progressives. Please keep doing what you do. P.S. Everyone hit that like button. Yes, please. Everybody hit that like button. Appreciate the public service announcement. And I appreciate you. But yeah, man, that's crazy to me that he really got Chris Cuomo to agree with him. Like, do y'all get that? Like, I mean, it cannot be. He really got Chris Cuomo to agree with him. That black people should go independent. Whew, that's impressive. He came ready for that interview. Remember, people who watch my show a lot, I was like, do y'all know why? Now, obviously, people know I've been on TV a few times the last couple of weeks, but that's a rare thing. It's never happened before. I've only been on TV one other time. Well, twice, but I don't count that. That was like a local TV station. I've only been on TV one time before the last couple of weeks. And I would tell people, like, why would they want me on TV? I don't like the Democrats. I don't like the Republicans. And I'm perfectly capable of articulating from my perspective as a black man why I don't like them, and from other people's perspectives through their experiences that I've learned about by engaging with those people. Why would anyone want me on television? Why would anyone want Fiorello or Pasto or Johnny or Robbie or any of the people on this network on television for us to tell the truth? That you should be out in the streets? That Mitch McConnell and Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and Donald Trump and AOC and Bernie, all of them are as equally responsible for failing us during this pandemic, and they're all pandering, pretending it's one side or the other. Why would you want me on TV to tell you that there is literally a solution called interferon alpha 2B in Cuba that helped Cuba and several African nations beat COVID? Why would they want us on TV to discuss election integrity? Why would they want us on TV to say, black people, don't just get out and vote. You better fight to make sure your vote counts because you're the most disenfranchised. And that does not stop with Republicans. That also is with Democrats. Why would they want me on TV to say Attorney General Daniel Cameron lied and pretended like the jury in Breonna Taylor's case had an option of prosecuting the 2 cops that murdered her when they never gave the option to prosecute the 2 cops that murdered her? Why would they want me on TV to tell people that there was those cops that killed Breonna Taylor were part of a special unit that was specifically created for a gentrification revitalization project, and their job was to get black people out of those neighborhoods so they could destroy those houses. So in other words, they did not get prosecuted because they did their job. Why would they want us on TV to say stuff like this? Why? Because when you sit there and you listen to a well-articulated argument like the one that Ice Cube just presented, what else can you say but, well, shit, you're right. And then you put the onus on yourself to do something about it. And if you don't do something about it, it sits with your conscience. Especially when you have a platform as big as some of these people have. When you don't do something about it, it sits with your conscience. It starts to eat away at you. You start to question why you're doing what you're doing. You start to question why you're saying what you're saying. If the moment that you say, I agree, what they just said is true. Once you open that door, there is no closing it. Now you're either being purposely deceptive, and some people can live with that. In fact, they relish in it. But then there are some people who are good but have purposely misinformed themselves because their livelihood, their clout, their followers, their subscribers, they depend on them being ignorant, and they know it. That's why they canceled that interview. But Cuomo, I got a lot of problems with Chris Cuomo. But it definitely displayed some integrity to have him to make sure that he kept his word and had Cube on, and then apologize for misrepresenting his position, and then agree with Cube on his points. That took a lot of integrity. And y'all know me, not a fan of mainstream media. That's an understatement. But I will always give credit where credit is due, even if I don't like the way that someone moves generally. But you cannot deny what Chris Cuomo did was huge. It wasn't small. He just said, I agree with you. Black people should go independent. Who does that hurt, people, in the general election? Who does that hurt? It hurts Biden. And Cuomo, knowing this, still had the courage to agree with Ice Cube anyway. So, big shout out to Ice Cube for that just wonderful, wonderful segment. In about an hour, I'm going to be covering Don Lemon's response, and Ice Cube called him out on Twitter. Because I was like, man, it can't be that bad. I thought it can't be as bad as like the normal Democratic piss, glish gloppy, nonsensical jibber jabber. Like I was not. It was worse. It was worse than what you might think it. Don't go cheat. Don't go look at it. Just come back here in about an hour. I'm gonna get something to eat because your boy is hungry. I'm gonna be back and we gonna roast Don Lemon's ass because he deserves it. All right. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like. I got a link in the description below. You can follow me everywhere. Twitter, Facebook, Rockfin. If you want to support the show, you can donate to us on Patreon as well. But more than anything else, always remember, find your balance. Peace. If you like that segment of Mikasa Sukasa, don't forget to like the video and smash that subscribe button. Want access to members only live streams, behind the scenes footage, and other premium content? Well, you can endorse us on Rockfin Premium, become a patron through Patreon, or you can sign up for the MCSC Premium membership through YouTube. All the links are in the description below. But hey, more than anything else,
More than anything else,
More than anything else,
More than anything else.
always remember,
Find your balance.
find your balance.
find your balance.
Find your balance. Find your balance.
Find your balance. Find your balance.
Always remember, more than anything else, find your balance.
peace.